Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this banner put up. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so, please. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at QueenAhmadiyyah.Shakur. Also, on Instagram at divine_goddess_27. On Patreon and Brighton at Queen Ahmadiyyah.Shakur, and on Twitter at dgoddess27. All right, Sally D says, ready to learn. Okay. Desmond says, I'm black, peeps. Mod, please. Yes, let me go ahead and get my thing set up over here. I keep forgetting to do that. I did add some of you on the paranormal channel. Hold on, people. Let me go to this other channel on here because I can't do it while the live stream is working. Or while its live stream is active. Okay, let me see here. Okay, people. All right, so let's get ready to get into it. Okay. Let me see. Did I already make Dan one? Let me make Dan a moderator. All right. Let me check my sound. I can't hear you. Can everybody else hear me? Can everybody else hear me? Thank you, Shakira. Y'all can hear me? Okay. All right, people, hold on. I'm making some mods on this channel. Okay, great. All right, people, hold up. Almost done. I'll finish the rest after. But I need to have a couple on here at least. All right. Okay, so we can go ahead and get started, people. We can go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's get into it. Yes, beautiful queen, loud and wonderfully clear. Okay, thank you, Dervis. My sound was muted. Okay, Queen Ahmadiyyah, get it together. Get it together. Okay, Queen, I'm here for numerology numbers. Numbers do not lie. Got that right. Got you right here for the teaching. Okay, so listen, people, let's talk about it. So we're just gonna talk about some basic things. All right. Now, how many of you think that numerology and astrology is satanic or it's an occult practice? How many of you think, if you think that numerology and astrology are occult practices or occults, put a 1 in the chat. Salute, Queen. What do you like about synchronicities? Oh, I love it. I think that when you have synchronicity, when you experience that, the universe is trying to tell you something. It's trying to get your attention. And in fact, let me just tell you all this. Right when I was preparing to get my live ready, not anymore, Queen. I know better. Okay, great. Silent D says 2222. Okay. So when I was trying to get prepared for my live, I went on my Authentic Black Goddess channel to put in my tags on my videos. And the subscriber count was at 8,666. 8666. Okay. Please, honey. Okay. Kiwi says, don't know, Queen. Well, let me tell you, I'm glad you said so, Kiwi, because you're going to learn today. So let me tell you all something. Here's the thing, people. A lot of people, especially Black Christians, think that numerology and astrology are satanic and occult-like practices, that you should not engage in them in all of those things, right? This is absolutely untrue. Let me just tell you something. The Bible is one of the most profound pieces of work for you to find numerology within it. Okay, let me say that again. The Bible is one of the most profound books for you to find astrology and numerology in it. Let me just give you a few examples. When we talk about the Lord's Prayer, okay? When we say the Lord's Prayer and we say, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, that's talking about astrology. Because you see, the will they're talking about, you think it's will like W-I-L-L. That's what I used to think also. Thy will be done. And that is what they're saying. But it's an allegory for another will. WHEEL. And that is a zodiac wheel, which houses 12 signs of the zodiac. Now, with that all being said, there are 88 constellations altogether. Out of those 88 constellations, there are 12 of them that fall in the direct path of the sun. And those are the zodiac signs that we're all born under. Okay? From Pisces to Aquarius and on so on and so on. Now, as I told you about the Southern Crux or the Southern Cross, which is where they get the word crucifix from, because it's a Greek word, crux, C-R-U-X. It is the smallest constellation, but it is visibly the most notable because it actually is shaped like a cross. That's where they get the story of Jesus dying on the cross, because the sun moves from one side, from the northern hemisphere of the sky to the southern hemisphere on the solstice, the winter solstice, which is December 21st, and it stops and rests for 3 days in front of the Southern Cross or the Southern Crux, right? And it literally looks like the sun, S-U-N, is hanging on the cross. And it sits there for 3 days, like Jesus died and he rose 3 days later, because the sun rises and then it moves back over to the northern hemisphere in its trajectory. All right. So that all being said, astrology is absolutely all throughout the Bible, and so is numerology. You may have heard people say, or you may have heard, of course you've heard this, but in the Bible, you notice how they use the same numbers over and over again. They say when Noah built the ark, that it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, that the ark floated for 40 days and for 40 nights, and then it rested on a hill or on a mountain. They'll say the Israelites, when they were freed from the Egyptians, they rested. Hold on. What is this? What is this, people? Okay, I'm looking at my other video that popped up. Okay. So anyway, the Israelites, when they left Egypt, right? They made their exodus. They were in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. So you keep hearing this word 40, right? This number 40. And so also you hear the number 12 a lot in the Bible. They say Jesus had 12 disciples, right? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but 12 is used a lot, right? And then also the number 33. Jesus died at the age of 33. The Masons use that number 33. You have 33 vertebrae in your spine. So these numbers are very important and significant, okay? These numbers are very important and significant. You hear them all the time throughout the Bible in different instances, okay? So that all being said, another thing is this. They talk about stars and constellations in the Bible. In fact, let me go back to what I was saying about thy will be done. When they're talking about the zodiac wheel, like I told you, that's where the houses of the zodiacs. You know the allegory in the Bible when they say, in thy father's house there are many mansions. There's no such thing as putting a mansion inside of a house. That doesn't even make any sense. A mansion is huge. How could you possibly fit a mansion inside of a house? So clearly that's an allegory, right? And when they're talking about in my father's house are many mansions, they're talking about the house of the zodiac. And when they're talking about many mansions, they're talking about the zodiac symbols, the signs. Okay? Now, so, and with that all being said, there was a troll in here. Was it the same one from the last video? You all got them out good. 12 tribes of Israel, Allah. That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get my thoughts together. Thank you, beloved. Yes. 12 disciples and 12 tribes of Israel. Absolutely. So there you have again the number 12, which is the number of beginnings, right? Okay, so thank you, Kiwi. So with that all being said, let's talk about the astrology. We're going to be talking about astrology and numerology. So with that all being said, they talk about astrology also in the Bible. If you look in the Bible, it has the word Mazaroth. Okay, Mazaroth. Mazaroth is a Hebrew word, and it means zodiac. If you translate it into English, it means zodiac. So you say, well, if it's evil to study astrology and numerology, why would they be talking about the zodiac, which is clearly a part of astrology, right? So why would they have the word zodiac in the Bible? So clearly there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't say, oh, you shouldn't, talk about zodiacs. None of that. It doesn't say that. In fact, let me read you some scriptures from the Bible that talk about other constellations and stars in the sky, clusters of stars, right? Everyone, please get the likes up. Please like and share the video so we draw more people into the algorithm for the viewing. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. And you know, I was reading today, or maybe yesterday, I was reading though, and there was this Bible channel or biblical channel, something like that, a Christian channel, whatever, and they were talking about astrology and numerology, saying you shouldn't ever dabble in it and all this so crazy stuff. I was like, clearly they do not know how to interpret the Bible. Okay? Listen to this. Now, this is clearly astrology. I want you to pay attention. Luke 21st chapter, the 25th verse. It says, there will be signs in sun and moon and stars, and on the earth dismay among nations, in perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves. There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. What are signs in the sun and the moon and the stars? That is astrology. Okay? Now, let me give you another one. Let's talk about Orion and Pleiades, because that's in the Bible also. Okay. Is Orion mentioned in the Bible? It says the Bible names, listen to this, the Bible names some of half a dozen star groups. All right? Names half a dozen star groups. It talks about Orion and Pleiades. Now you may ask yourself, what are Orion and Pleiades? And what does it mean in Hebrew, right? Orion represents Christ, the heavenly light of the world, and Leo is the lion of the tribe of Judah. Now, and also if you want to look up Mazzaroth in the Bible, which Mazzaroth, as I told you, that's a Hebrew word which means zodiac. It means zodiac, constellations thereof, or a garland of crowns. Okay? Now let me find a verse. Here it is right here, Job 38:31. Can you bind the chains of Pleiades? Can you loosen Orion's belts? That's straight up astrology. Do you know what Orion's belt is? First of all, Orion is a constellation. That's a constellation. Okay? Orion's belts are the belts of Orion, also known as the three kings. That's where they get the story of the three kings. That's why I tell you all that you're not supposed to take everything in the Bible literal. The Bible is coded. It's written in allegorical text. Now, you call it either the belts of Orion, Orion's belts, or the three kings. It is an asterism in the constellation of Orion. What is a constellation? That is in the sky, right? So clearly the Bible talks about astrology and numerology. Okay? It also talks about Pleiades. Let me find a Bible scripture that talks about Pleiades. And let's get the lights up, people. Let's get the lights up. Yes, they did code it when the Europeans got a hold of it. Absolutely. They changed it and put things in there that they wanted to put in there. Absolutely. Okay, so it says in Job 9th chapter in the 9th verse, which maketh Arcturus, Orion, and Pleiades, and the chambers of the south. And then in Job 38:31, it says, canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades or loose the bands of Orion, which is the same thing I said previous, the belts of Orion, but it depends on which version of the Bible it says the bands. So this is the King James Version. Okay? So I'm just saying. Now, with that all being said, this is clearly astrology. Now let's talk about numerology in the Bible. That's the one I told you. It's also called the known as the Seven Sisters, and it's visible virtually from anywhere on the globe. So no matter where you are, you should be able to see Pleiades in the night sky. All right. You can see it as far away as the North Pole, and the southernmost tip of South America. It looks like a Misty Dipper, you know, like the Big Dipper. Looks like a Misty Dipper of stars. Okay, so now let's talk about numerology in the Bible. Now, we already talked about how they use the number 12 consistently. And then here's another thing too. You know, here's another thing. This is definitely, let me find this scripture for you all. This is definitely, hold on. This is definitely numerology and astrology. Because actually you can use both of them together, right? To figure out things. And I'm gonna explain it in a minute, but let me find this scripture real quick. Hold on. Everyone, please get the lights up. And I promise you, I would have already had this together, so I don't have to sit here and look for it. I would have already had this together, but I was rushing because I just finished the other live. That's no excuse, but that's just the reason. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, now listen to this. Make sure this is the right one. And also, let's not forget the number 30. When Judas betrayed Jesus with 30 pieces of silver. Hold on, people. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Okay, this is Luke 22nd and the 10th verse. It says, and he said unto them, behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall come a man to meet you, bearing a pitcher of pouring water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in. Now, pay attention. When Jesus says, behold, when ye entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of pouring water. Do you all remember in the Bible, when Jesus had died, he'd been crucified, and then he rose. When he ascended, well, before he ascended back into the heavens, the disciples asked him, when will there be another Passover? Meaning, when will he return? And he said, behold, when ye enter into the city, there shall be a man to meet you, bearing a pitcher of pouring water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in. That man bearing the pitcher of pouring water, that is the sign of Aquarius. Okay? That is the sign of Aquarius. Basically saying that Christ would return in the age of Aquarius, right? And so that's why he said there will come a man bearing a pitcher of pouring water. Follow him when he entereth in. So meaning follow him into the age of Aquarius. With that all being said, Aquarius, the symbol for Aquarius is the man bearing a pitcher of pouring water. They call that symbol the water bearer. Also, if you remember, when Jesus fed the people, the 5,000 people with 2 fish and a loaf of bread, those 2 fish symbolize the Pisces symbol. You know, the Pisces zodiac sign is symboled by 2 fish. Okay? Sign of Virgo, that comes from the Virgin Mary. So I'm trying to tell you, astrology is absolutely in the Bible. So is numerology. Now let's talk about this. Even when the Creator made us, numerology and astrology were involved. So for example, these numbers first. Okay. Did you all ever notice that? Did you ever notice that odd numbers, well, of course, I'm sure you did, but odd numbers cannot be divided, right? Odd comes from Odom, like Adam, right? Europeans changed his name too. There's nobody in the Bible named Adam. It was Odom or Atom, like the atom that makes up your body. Odom, right? Depending on which language you're speaking in. So Odom, Adam, O-D-O-M, Adam, that's where you get the number or the word odd. Okay, odd. So odd numbers cannot be divided. Odd numbers are masculine numbers, and they represent unity. That's why they can't be divided. You get it? Odd numbers can't be divided, and they're I don't know why screw tubes, they don't have anything better to do. But anyway, odd numbers can't be divided, and they stand for unity, masculine energy. Now, feminine numbers are numbers that are even. Eve, like Eve, even. Those numbers can be divided, right? Okay. They can be when they're positive, they double, right? Like 2 times 2, right? 6 times 6 or whatever. When they're positive, they double. But when they're negative, they divide. So also, hold on, people. Okay, also, let's talk about the number 12, right? The number 12. Okay, so let's talk about how that pertains. That in numerology, we know they use it in the Bible, the number 12. And I told you that's a number of new beginnings, right? That's a spiritual number, number 12. Okay, that's one of my life numbers because I was born in February. So my zodiac sign is Pisces. Pisces is the 12th zodiac sign. Okay, my birth number is the number 1. So to get your life number, the 12, which is the zodiac sign that I was born under, the 12th zodiac sign, and then 1, which is my life number when you add up my birth date all the way across, and then you add the 12 plus the 1 is a 13. So my life number is a 13. And I remember when I first learned that, I said 13, that's an unlucky number, right? And the lady was like, no, that's not an unlucky number. That's what they tell people. 13 is a very good number. It's a spiritual number. And if you think about it, there was Christ in the Bible with his 12 disciples. That was 13. I'm just saying. So they clearly brainwash people, right? Now, so listen to this. Okay, we talk about the number 12 and its use in the Bible, but there's also 12 systems in your body. There's 12 cranial nerves. You have 12 nerve endings in your solar plexus, which, by the way, the solar plexus has the same exact energy as the sun. That's why it's called the solar plexus, because the sun gives off solar energy. Okay. You have 7 chakras. You have 7 cabins in the brain and 7 cabins in the heart. So the number 7, that's also called God's number. That's my lucky number, 7. Okay. You have 7 arises of the body. You have 33 vertebrae up the spine. And as I told you before, they use the number 33 often in the Bible. Jesus died at the age of 33. When you have a number that has a 0 attached to it in numerology, you can ignore that number. So if it's 30, you would just use the 3. Okay. And then here's another thing too. When we talk about Odom or Adam or odd numbers standing for unity, because you can't divide them, that's why they're united. And when we talk about even numbers coming from Eve, which Eve is the mother of earth, or some people say mother nature when they're talking about Eve, or that also comes for matter, material. Okay. This is all very interesting. Now, also, let's talk about King Solomon. The word Solomon. What does the word Solomon come from? I'm glad you asked. The word Solomon means like the moon and the sun at the same time. Solo, right? Meaning sun. Mano, Salomano. That's where they get it from. It's Solomon, but they get it from Salomano. Solo meaning sun, or solo meaning sun, and mano meaning moon. Okay? Talking about the solar and the lunar. Okay, now in Latin, solo means alone. In Greek, mono means alone. Okay? Think about when somebody says you want to fight in Spanish, they say mano y mano. That means alone, one on one, just by yourself, mano. So in Greek, mono means alone. In Latin, solo means alone. Solo, I'm going solo, I'm flying solo. It means you're doing it by yourself, right? Mono also is equivalent to where they get the word moon. Solo from the sun, i.e. solar energy, solar. All right? And now the temple of Solomon, the temple that King Solomon lived in, the temple of Salomono, that was built by Hiram, okay? Hiram the fifth. Now, Hiram is Aries. Aries is Aries. Aries equals the cerebral, okay? The cerebral spinal system, which is in the front of the head, the front of your dome. Now, Ram is the cerebrum, or the cerebrum, right? Ram is in the word cerebrum, cerebrum. Okay, that, and Aries rules the top of the head. Taurus, the bull. Taurus rules the bottom. And you have the word cerebellum. That's what they used to say, cerebellum. It's ruled by the bull. The cerebellum, or the cerebellum, that is the lower mind, which is in the back of the skull. That's what that rules, the lower part of the head, the bottom. Okay? Now, Hiram, like I said, Hiram is the builder of Salomono, or King Solomon's temple, the temple of Solomon, or Salomano. Aries, that's the land of God, and it sits on the top of your head, the crown, with the crown chakra. Okay? That's what gets you into your God-like self, or your higher self. That's why we call God the Most High, because that's the highest level of consciousness that you can achieve. The Most High, and you say, I'm talking and communicating, I'm being spiritual, and I'm in tune with my higher self. That's your God-like self. Okay? And then here's something else, because I hear people always saying, like, when you talk about 144,000 in the Bible, and they say he saw a number that no man could number, or whatever, it was 144,000. Let me find that scripture. So I don't misquote. Everyone, please, let's get the likes up. That number is mentioned several times in the Bible. It says, they believe the 144,000 will serve with Christ as kings and priests for 1,000 years, while all other people accepted by God, the other sheep in John 10:16 composed the great crowd, and of Revelation 7:9-14. Hold on, I'm looking for the exact scripture. Yes, here it is right here. Okay, it says, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of the harpers harping with their harps. Okay, the number 144,000. Now, let me tell you how that is relevant to your body as well. The 144,000, which is Revelations 14:1. Yes, absolutely. Somebody put in the chat. Okay, so that represents the numbers of petals on the chakras. Now, if you remember last night when I showed you the video or the PowerPoint telling you about the chakras and how they're represented, all of those symbols that represent the chakras, I hope you could tell that those were flowers, different colors of flowers. Thank you, True Justice, beloved. Different colors of flowers, right? So with that all being said, the numbers of those petals equals 144,000. You see, the first petal, or the first chakra, which is the root chakra, it has 4 petals. 4 petals. Now, the second chakra, which is the sacral chakra, that has 6 petals. So you add the 4 and the 6 and you have 10. And then the third chakra, which is the solar plexus, that has 10 petals. Okay, so now you have 20. And then the heart chakra has 12, and that's 32. And then the throat chakra has 16, and that's 48, right? And then you have the third eye chakra, or the pineal gland, which is 96. Okay, so that equals 144. Now, the only one you have left is the crown chakra, which sits upon the top of the head. The crown chakra has 1,000, okay, 1,000 petals. So you multiply 1,000 times 144, and you get 144,000. That's where they get that number from. But people will tell you that numerology is not in the Bible, and that numerology is evil and wicked, and you should be practicing it, and that astrology is evil and wicked, and you should be practicing it. But the same people who tell you that are the same people who use it against us. They use our stuff that our ancestors, the ancient Cometians, i.e. the ancient Egyptians, they use the very same things that they left behind for us in the Book of the Dead and painted on the ancient walls of Kemet. They use that against us. This is why the Freemasons, they have 33 degrees of masonry. Why do they have 33 degrees of masonry? Well, because that is a very powerful number in numerology. And let me tell you about something else. I wish I had a book of cards. I wish I had a deck of cards. I should have brought my cards in here. Anyway, so how many of you play spades? Everyone put a 1 in the chat if you play spades or bid whist, any of those games where you use the regular playing cards. Does anyone use those cards? Let me get off of here and go to the other screen. Okay, so lots of people saying 1. Okay, good. So with that all being said, did you know that those cards represent the universe, things that are like in the world? For example, you'll look at the cards and you know that they have 4 suits. You have the diamonds, the hearts, the clubs, the spades. 4 suits. Those 4 suits in numerology represents winter, spring, summer, and fall. Okay? If you add up all of the cards, did you notice that there's 42 cards in the deck? Now, we're not counting the jokers. Not counting the jokers, there's 42 cards in the deck. I'm sorry, 52. We're not counting the jokers, there's 52 cards in the deck, right? Or even if you play and you keep them, but you take out deuces, right? So either way, you're playing with 52 cards. Say it. Did you all notice that you have 52 weeks in a year? 52 weeks in a year, 52 cards that when you're playing with the playing cards. And then here's the thing. All of the suits, the 4 suits stand for the 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall. Aces, clubs, hearts, diamonds. And then if you add up the cards, now the numbers on the cards for the jack, the king, and the queen, those all equal 10 points. Those are all worth 10s. All of the other cards are worth whatever number is printed on them. So the ace will be worth a 1. The 2 is worth 2, the 3 is worth 3, and so on and so forth. When you add up all of those cards, right, then you get 365 and a quarter. 365.25. That's 365 and a quarter. There's 365 and a quarter days in a year. Okay? Because we have to add in daylight savings time. So there's 365 days in a year. There's 365 and a quarter days in a year, and 365 quarter worth of the cards, the numbers on the cards. So absolutely, those cards have something to do with the universe. Now, with that all being said, every person is born under one of those cards. Every person is born under one of those cards. And whatever card you're born under, that's how people can tell you about your personality. I do card readings all the time, and I don't use tarot cards. I use the regular playing cards because those cards are actual and factual. Those cards know your personality because you're born on one of those cards. I'm, for example, born on a Jack of Clubs. The Jack of Clubs is the card that I'm born under. So I have a Jack of Clubs personality, right? So because I'm a female, since I was born under the Jack of Clubs, that also means that I have the Queen of Clubs personality traits as well, because the Queen rules over the Jack. But if you're a male and you were born on the Jack of Clubs, then you would have the King of Clubs personality traits. Okay? So with that all being said, everyone, please, let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. Millie said, people call you Queen. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what's crazy? Because I never intended for people to just call me Queen. I named myself Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, but people just started calling me Queen and not even saying my first name, right? Or my middle name now. But you get what I'm saying. So, and that's another thing. There's power in your name. So there's power in your name. Okay, and also with that all being said, not only do these cards tell you about your personality, I mean, it's on point. Like, for example, let me give you an example. There was an attorney that I worked for when I was doing my internship when I was in college. So she saw me reading my books about numerology and astrology one day when I was on break. And so she asked me about the books and, you know, what I was studying, and I told her. And so she asked me if I could read cards, and I was like, yes. And she was like, you can really read cards? And I was like, yes. Now, mind you, I had just started doing it at that point. I wasn't even like, hadn't been doing this for a long time, but I still knew how to read the cards. And that's because I'm also intuitive and psychic. So she asked me to read her cards. I told her, well, I need your birthday, your entire birthday, right? Month, day, and year. And then I told her that her birth card was an 8 of clubs. And that was so crazy because you know what it says about a person who's an 8 of clubs? That's a person who's a control freak. That's a person who loves to be in power. And these people typically, if things go well in their life, they usually end up being a politician, an attorney, or a judge. And she was an attorney. And she was very much in control. She was a control freak. And her husband, who was younger than her, he was like 10 years younger than her. And so she asked me to read his cards. And so she gave me his birth date. And his birth card was a 3 of diamonds. And I started laughing, right? Because he was exactly who I thought he was when I first saw him. Like when I first met her husband at the office, my spirit told me all about him. But when she told me his birth date and I looked at his cards, his birth card, which was a 3 of diamonds, and I laughed and she said, what does it say? I said, your husband is somebody who likes to wheel and deal. He's always hustling, trying to come up. And she said, oh my God, that is so true. Like she literally told me that maybe a month prior, he had asked her to buy him a car, right? So she told him she's not going to buy him a new car until he gets a job. So because she was really like his sugar mama, if you ask me. But she told him she wasn't going to buy him a new car until he started back working and got a job. So she would just get him like an old car that he could fix up. So she said she bought him this car. He fixed the car up with the money she gave him. And then he took it and sold it for like 3 times what she paid for it and kept the money for himself. So he was literally a wheeler and a dealer, a hustler. Okay, like a Jack of Diamonds. My youngest sister, she's born under the Jack of Diamonds card, which means she's like she always has money. Money comes to her naturally. Money comes to her naturally. She's a good salesperson. She can sell water to a well. Okay, she's good at sales. I'm not good at sales. She is. She naturally has a knack for it. My friend, he's a Jack of Diamonds. He always has money. He's a good salesperson. He's in the real estate business. So it just all goes to show that these cards are very accurate. Now, here's the thing. Some people you cannot predict their personality. And you know why? Because those people, some of them are born on, we'll say, they're born on the day of the Joker, December 31st. If your birthday is December 31st, you're born on the day of the Joker. Now, the reason you can't predict those people is because, as you know, if you play cards, the Joker is wild. The Joker can be not only itself, but it can be any other card in the deck. So people who are born on December 31st, who have the card of the Joker, they have different or multiple personality traits. Okay? So General Lovateur said, this is ancient wisdom. Thank you, beloved. So I love teaching this stuff because I'm really into it, and I always have been. And let me tell you something. People that have extrasensory perception or psychic ability, sixth sense, and things like that. I remember what I told you in the chakra video that we did yesterday with the PowerPoint. I told you all, the reason they call it a sixth sense is because your third eye, your crown, your pineal gland, your third eye, that's your sixth chakra. And so people who are psychic or have these spiritual gifts, they say it's your sixth sense because it comes from the third eye. Okay? So with that all being said, since I was a little kid, I always had spiritual gifts. I could see spirits. My mother, I think I told you all before, my mother said when I was 4, I was talking to someone, having a full-on conversation. And she was like, who are you talking to? And I said, my friend. But I obviously was seeing a spirit. I remember seeing spirits as I got older. Also, I always was into psychic things, right? I was always into psychic things, always trying to do magic and all kinds of stuff. I remember my mother saw me sitting with a one of those phone books. You all remember the yellow pages? I had the yellow pages sitting on a table, and I was just sitting there staring at it, concentrating. And my mother walked in the room. She said, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to make this move with my mind. I know I can do it. My mother's like, you're a witch. I'm taking you to the church and let Pastor French pray over you. Okay? I always had psychic ability. I always had premonitions and visions and things like that. I always did. Ever since I was a little kid, I would say things and they would absolutely happen. That's why I believe people should be careful what you say. People should be careful. And let me tell you something. You can manifest things just by saying something, because words are energy and thoughts are energy. And you can manifest things very easily, especially if you're someone who has spiritual gifts. I think we all have spiritual gifts, but if you're someone who is in tune with those spiritual gifts and you know how to use them, I believe, Chelsea said, wow, not Pastor French. Yes, that was his name. But thank you, Melanated Brown. But with that all being said, you can manifest things, right? Very easily. Let me tell you something I manifested one time. That's why I really have to be careful what I say, seriously, because I have a real good habit of doing that. Let me just give you an example of something I did. Okay, so years ago, I went and bought a brand new car, right? I don't want a used car. I wanted a new car. So I went and bought this car. And that car was really out of my budget. So I was paying it, but every time I paid it, I always felt like I don't have enough money. I don't have extra money to go do this and that, to go hang out with my friends, to go shopping. I don't have extra money. So I was complaining about it to my friend who I'd known since high school. I knew her since I was 15. And so I was talking to her and I was like, you know what? I'm so sick of this car. I wish I never bought it. And I was like, this car is just keeping me down. I don't have money to go out on the weekends. I can't go shopping and do this and that and the third. And I have all these other bills. And I said, you know what? I wish something would happen to this car. I just wish it would get totaled so I don't have to finish paying for it. Now, mind you, I'd only had the car about 6 months when I'm saying all this. So about maybe 2 weeks later, I was in a bad car accident. Thank God I didn't get hurt really bad. But I was in a bad car accident, right? And the car got totaled. And I remember being glad that the car got totaled. And so I remember I called my friend and I told her, I said, honey, I was in an accident. I just got out of the hospital. I said I had to go to the trauma unit. I was in a car accident and the car is totaled. And she said, you know you did that, right? And I said, what are you talking about? She said, that was your fault. I said, it wasn't my fault. Somebody T-boned me. It wasn't my fault. I didn't even get a ticket. The other person did. She said, no. I'm not talking about the accident was your fault. It's your fault that the car got totaled. She said, that's all you have been talking about for the past week and a half. You kept saying, oh, I'm so sick of paying for this car. I just wish something would happen to it. And she said, you even said the last time, you said, I hope it gets totaled so I don't have to finish paying for it. and that car got totaled. So you have to be careful what you say, because even though that car got totaled, I could have gotten killed, because I literally was T-boned coming home one night, and this guy pulled out and hit me. The car went sliding across the road, hit a telephone pole. The telephone pole broke in half and fell on top of the car. So that's real crazy. That is real crazy. Some people have very powerful energy. That is real crazy, right? I remember arguing with my son's father one time, and while we were arguing, I didn't even notice this until he told me after that, because I was so mad I didn't even notice it. So when I finally calmed down and we stopped arguing, right? He was looking at me real crazy, and I'm like, "What are you looking crazy for?" I'm not still mad, you know what I'm saying? I'm calmed down now. He was like, "Did you see what just happened?" And I was like, "What happened?" He said that when I was going in on him, I was in such an angry spirit, like such a rage. He said the lights would flicker every time I was talking. When I would not say anything and he would say something, it wouldn't happen. But he said every time I would say something, the lights would flicker. Now, I thought about Carrie. I was like, what? I didn't even realize it. So, yes, absolutely. You spoke it, Queen Ahmadiyyah, power in words. Absolutely. That's why I don't say things negative about myself. I don't go around saying, oh, I'm broke, or oh, I don't have this and that. I never say negative things about myself. I speak positive things. And that's why I was telling you all last night when I was talking about the chakras, you should speak positively and positive things upon yourself. And some people say, well, people are lying. Like when people say, somebody might say they're a millionaire, or they may say they have a Lamborghini. I'm just throwing things out there hypothetically. And then someone that knows them may say, oh, they're lying. They don't have that. It's not so much so that they're lying. They're trying to manifest sometimes. Sometimes people are just lying and clout chasing clearly. But I'm saying there are some people who believe and know about the power of visualization and the power of words. You cast spells with words every day. That's why they call it spelling. And let me tell you something. Back in the ancient days, our ancestors, they could literally speak things into existence. That's why when you see pictures of the slaves, let me show you one of these pictures. For those of you who haven't seen this. Here we go, right here. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this. Everyone, please, let's get the likes up. Please like and share. You see this? See that muzzle, that iron muzzle on her mouth? You see that? They used to make our ancestors wear those because the African women had the power to speak things into existence. They could just speak it. And the white folks knew that. So they would put those over their mouths so they can. Now, if you ask them today, some of them will say, oh, well, they put that on their mouth so they can steal the corn while they were out there in the fields picking the corn and all. No, they didn't want them speaking certain things and making things happen. You see, they know more about our spiritual gifts than most of us do now, because our people have been so brainwashed with Christianity, and they put things in the Bible about not consorting with the dead. And many of you believe that. And you won't talk to your ancestors. And when they say your angels, you have a guardian angel. Some of you are thinking about an angel in the sky with wings. That's not how it works. There's no angels coming from the sky with wings. The angels are your ancestors, your spiritual guides is what I call them. Some people call them guardian angels, spirit guides, same thing. The ancestors watch over us and protect us after they leave this realm and go into the spiritual realm. Those are the angels of which they speak, but they're not going to tell you that. Instead, they'll tell you not to consort with the dead, because your ancestors, sometimes they try to communicate with you. Now, you do have to be careful, because sometimes demons will come and try to trick you and masquerade as the ancestors. So that may be a good reason, if you're not spiritually in tune and your third eye is not open, that you shouldn't be doing it. Maybe you shouldn't be doing it, right? But those who have their third eye open and their body is full of light, i.e. they've been enlightened, then they know how to deal with certain things that most people don't. And the angels do show up and manifest to you. Sometimes you don't realize it till afterwards, though it had happened to me. Absolutely, conscious outlaw. Absolutely. And I told you all about that time. I just told you all this the other day when I went in that store and the lady said she saw the shaman, the spirit of the shaman all around me. I thought that was clearly crazy, right? But this is true. The shaman, the Cherokee shaman, because I'm a Cherokee native. Literally, I don't identify as African American. I think I told you all that numerous of times. Now, I consider myself black because of my skin tone, but on paper, I'm not classified as black. Black has no standing in law, as President Obama himself said in 2009 when he was introduced on the Tom Joyner Morning Show as the first black president of the United States, or the divided snakes. He said, I don't identify as a black president because black has no standing in law. Many black people don't know this. That's why the cops can kill you and get away with it. When you say you're black or African American, that doesn't even exist. That's just something that they made up. And due to Executive Order 13037, African American literally means property. And property has no rights. So that's the trick. And that's why all that marching and stuff for justice, that's never going to get justice. Okay? I tried to guard my third eye. Absolutely. Let me tell you all something. So when you all go in stores and businesses now, right, like to the gym to work out, and so since we're in a pandemic, they want to check your temperatures when you go to different things, right? And they want to check your temperature, right? So you should not be allowing them to put that radar right here. That's radiation. You know that, right? Even though they're doing it for a couple of seconds or whatever, it's still radiation. And they're putting it right there, and that's damaging to your third eye, your pineal gland. So you know what I do? I tell them to do it right here. You're going to get the same reading. Do it right here on my wrist. Don't put that, and first of all, I don't like that. Because when they point that gun at your head, that's what it reminds me of too. It's like they're pointing a gun at your head. Okay? So I don't let them do that. Now, there was one girl at the gym. She almost was trying to insist that I let her put it to my forehead. And I'm like, no, you're not doing it. You can put it on my wrist like everybody else that works here. So she was trying to give me a hard time. But now, you know what I do? When I go to the gym, I just have my thing going like this. So I don't even have to tell her to do it on my wrist, because when she sees my thing put down on my forehead, she already knows she's not going to get a good reading. And what's she going to do? Tell me to pull it up? She's not going to tell me. So she just gives it to me on my wrist. Okay? Melody Brown said, got the wrist. Guard your heart, for out there are the issues of life. Absolutely, divine sacred mother, beloved. Absolutely. Yes, it will lower your vibration. Absolutely. It will lower your vibrational frequency. And let me tell you all something too. This is what I want you all to pay attention. I'm glad you brought that up, beloved. I'm glad you said that about lowering your vibrations. Let me tell you all something. You know how you have these mean, hateful, wicked people who just don't like black people just because we're black, and who, you know, go out of their way to start trouble, ask you 1,000 questions, demand you show them an ID, even though they're not even the police, ask you why you're going into this building, call bogus 911 calls. Do you know why they do that? I'm glad you asked. You know, they do those things because, you know, I used to say to myself when I was younger, I'd say, man, because I grew up in Kentucky, which is very racist, Klansmen marching downtown in the Pegasus Parade, literally. But I used to say to myself, why do some racist white people always want to give black people a hard time? Like, why do they get so mad because we're just living life, just being happy? Be swimming, black people getting in the pool with the white people back in the 60s and all that stuff. They just really, I used to ask myself, why do they always start trouble when black people are just trying to have a good time? You know why that is? Because they cannot stand to see you happy. You know why they can't stand to see you happy? I'm glad you asked. Because when you are happy, you're vibrating on a high level of frequency. And they, unlike many of our people, know who we are. So they don't want to see you vibrating on a high level of frequency. Misery loves company. Absolutely, General. They want to see you sink to a low vibrational frequency, to see you lower your levels and stages of consciousness. And so when you do that, that's all they want. That's why the police provoke black people. They don't talk to us nice like they talk to the Mayos. They talk to us crazy. Get out of the car. Put your hands up. That's how they talk to you. Now, that's almost automatically is going to evoke a negative reaction or a low vibrational frequency. So that's why you have to outsmart them. And that's why I tell Black people, don't argue with them on the side of the road. If they tell you to do something, just do it. Whether you want to, whether you think it's right or not, just do it. Just do it. You're not going to win. They have guns. They have backup. They have, everything at their disposal. You 9 times out of 10 only have yourself. Now, I'm not telling you to bow down, but I'm telling you to think smart. You should always choose your battles carefully. Because some days, there's no way for you to win. And so when there's no way for you to win, you may as well just retreat. Get yourself together and live to fight another day. That's what you have to do. So many Black people. You saw how that lady was getting arrested the other day? The representative, Park Cannon. She was clearly doing the most, right? But Tyreek, I watched Tyreek's live last night. Tyreek said that was all for show. And when I looked at it as he broke it down, it literally was. It looked like it to me. Because they had her spun all around and all that. She's sliding, dragging her feet. And I was thinking, this lady is a lawmaker. Why is she acting like that, dragging her feet? I mean, I understand she didn't want to get arrested. But at the end of the day, they're taking you to jail. I mean, dragging your feet and trying to resist, that's not going to stop them. Just go. Just go in peace. And let me tell you something that y'all need to remember. Yes, she is. Absolutely, Judah Queen. I just found that out from Tyreek also. But here's the thing, people. When some wicked devil is trying their best to provoke you and you allow them to do so, that gives them great pleasure. They feel euphoric after that. So with that all being said, when you know someone is trying to tick you off, don't let them. Queen, you was on there too. Yes, I absolutely was. Yes, beloved. Okay? You cannot allow them because that gives them pleasure. They get happy knowing that they brought you down. So even if you're mad, even if you're upset, don't even let it show. Don't. And here's the thing. When you do let it show, 9 times out of 10, that's only going to cause them to escalate the situation as they love to do, just like with Sandra Bland. Okay? Just like with Sandra Bland. Melanated Brown says, pay attention to these lifelines. Thank you, beloved. So just like Sandra Bland. So sometimes you just have to grin and bear it or just stay mute. Just don't even say anything, okay? With that all being said, I hate this damn place. We can't do shites. Absolutely, Akira. That's the sad fate of it all, right? City Trend's outfit had me cracking up. Yes, when he said that, and then when he said she was trying to show off her shoes and get her Gucci belt, I was just rolling. But so with that all being said, listen, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Now, I would like to thank you all for tuning Black in once again. And this time went by so quick. It's already 10 after 9. Okay? An hour went by so fast. But so I'm going to be coming back on here tomorrow. I'm going to start going live on this channel, hopefully at least once a week. First of all, I'm trying to grow this channel. And first of all, I like this channel because let me tell you about something. After doing Authentic Black Goddess TV and giving all the nefarious stories that I have to give, sometimes it is draining. So I need to do this channel because this boosts my spirits. Like this channel lifts me up and it raises my frequency. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you like this. Sometimes, and I love you right, Black, Divine Sacred Mother. Thank you. And sometimes it just lowers my energy. So that's why I like doing this channel because it really makes me feel lighthearted and happy and peaceful when I come off of these lives. And plus, I'm teaching the stuff that I love to teach. I always like telling people giving people spiritual information. The next time we talk about stones and crystals, I'm going to share with you all some of my stones and crystals. Let you all see some of my, the ones I have been collecting them for years. So I'm going to let you all see some of them, okay? And I'll tell you how to do some crystal work with them and things like that, and how to cleanse them and all those things. So with that all being said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. Enjoy the rest of this lovely night. Also, don't forget to tune in the morning at 9 a.m. And you know what? I may come on at 8 o'clock again. I don't know, 8:30. I may come on a little early. Because here's the thing, people. I have been trying to balance my workouts. Because sometimes when I do a whole bunch of videos, I don't get to work out like I want to. And I'm really trying to work out. And then, and I'm also thinking because I'm already paying for it. I'm thinking about taking this Zumba class, right? Thinking about taking this Zumba class. And so I think it starts at 9:45 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if that is the case, I'm going to double check. But if that is the case, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I may start doing my morning wake up calls a little early, so I can be done at least by like 9:15, because it takes me like 20 minutes to get to the gym. Okay, and I need those Zumba classes for my cardio. Okay, so with that all being said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. Enjoy the rest of this night. Don't forget to like and share the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my other channels if you haven't done so already. I was going to go live on the paranormal or Beyond the Realm tonight. I'm not going to go live because it's already after 9 and I'm kind of tired and I have a little bit more stuff to do. So I'll go live on there tomorrow. So I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. And until next time, Royals, I will talk to you all again soon.